For Miles Pearson, heating his home throughout the winter is a non-negotiable. He works remotely and his condition makes that impossible in the cold.
I have something called arthrogryposis, which is essentially contractures of the joints. Now, in the wintertime, my joints become stiff and become painful. So having the heating on daily is such a big help for me, and it means I can do my job, work and contribute to society.
For anyone already worried about bills, any price rise is bad news. Today's announcement means gas and electricity prices will rise by 2%. A household using a typical amount of energy will pay £1,755 a year, up £35. On a default tariff, it's roughly £2 extra for every £100 currently spent. Latest figures show more than a third of customers are now on fixed tariffs, which means they're protected from the upcoming rise.
It's important to recognise that it is a cap. There are much cheaper deals available on the market. I would very much urge people to shop around. You can save yourself around £200 a year by shopping around and looking at fixed deals.
The government says producing more green energy domestically will bring prices down, but in the short term, its own policy is contributing to the rise.
More than 2 million more households will receive £150 in the Warm Homes discount to make sure that those who will struggle to pay bills the most get the support to do that. But everything we're doing as a government is to move as fast as possible to remove that volatility of gas prices so that we bring down bills for good.
But there are plenty of people like Miles who don't qualify for that discount.
I think a social tariff would be really good in this situation. Something that means that disabled people can get discounts on their energy bills, and something where they can access that pretty easily.
Household energy debts reached a record high at the end of last winter. This higher than predicted price rise will reignite the debate over affordability. Carrie Davis, ITV News.
Rob, this 2% is more than expected. Why are we seeing this rise now?
Yeah, it has been a surprise that we've seen it, as we said there, go up by 2%, not the 1% that previously we thought that it would go up by. There are a few factors at play here. I mean, the big one is still, and has been for many years now, the war in Ukraine, because of course previously this was an area that provided Europe with a lot of gas, ourselves, the same here in the United Kingdom. So that has pushed prices up, and prices have stayed up ever since Russia's invasion back in 2022. But also we're seeing new factors brought in now. So things like Trump's tariffs, of course, we're having to factor those into the prices that we're seeing on the global energy market as well. And just the price of keeping the infrastructure going as well. We're getting into winter now, or at least we will be very, very soon. And a lot of the energy companies are out there doing a lot of maintenance on the network. That, of course, also costs money.
Talk me through how the cap exactly works, what it is for people.
Yeah, so it's always worth remembering that this isn't the maximum amount that your bills will be. What this is actually a cap on the unit price that you will be charged. So for a kilowatt hour of electricity and of gas. So don't go out there and use as much gas or electricity as you want to because you think that your bills are going to be capped. That isn't the case, but it's just a cap on the amount that the energy companies can charge us to be connected to the network.
Who's this going to be affecting the most?
Yes, I mean, millions of households will of course be affected by this. Now, it's worth remembering that a lot of people out there already will be on fixed deals, or at least they might be. So if you're on a fixed term energy deal, so you fixed your price maybe earlier on in the year, you won't necessarily be affected unless your energy bill is going to come to an end. That fixed rate term is going to come to an end. But it's going to affect anyone who's currently on a variable tariff. It could affect anyone who is out there looking for a new deal at the moment. But of course, those who it's going to impact the most are those that are already struggling to pay their energy bills. We know that millions of people are struggling with household bills at the moment. The cost of living is still a huge issue for a lot of people. So this just adds to that difficulty for so many.
What can people do before October the 1st to make sure they're in the best position possible?
Yeah, so I mentioned there fixed term energy deals, people who are on a fixed deal. Now, if you aren't on a fixed deal at the moment, we would recommend having a bit of a shop around, see what's out there. So we had a bit of a look earlier this month at Which, and we found that there are currently 20 tariffs on offer which are below this energy price cap. So you can currently fix below the price cap. What we'd recommend is you don't fix for any longer than 12 months and make sure that any deal that you do go with doesn't have any early exit fees or anything like that as well, because you want to have the flexibility that if something does happen, you can either get out of that deal if you need to, or maybe you might be able to lock in further if we see different fluctuations in the price cap in the coming months.
This cap is fixed now for 3 months. Now, you've said there people should look at maybe getting fixed price for 12 months. Is there any chance bills could go down? Why is that the better thing to do?
Yeah, so looking slightly further ahead, obviously, we've had the announcement that we've had, but looking further ahead, so in another 3 months, so we're getting into obviously the middle of winter and then into next spring, what the market analysts are predicting is that the price cap is going to stay roughly similar, but we are expecting another rise next time round as well. So the fact that we are expecting it to go up again by a little bit more, maybe another few percent, means that now is the time to fix, because if you are on a variable tariff that is linked to the price cap, then that variable tariff will go up and up in the coming months potentially.
When people are shopping around, thinking of changing supplier, are there any sort of red flags or warning signs people should look out for to say don't go with those people?
Yeah, I would say it is difficult at the moment, because we've seen since the energy prices increased massively that we lost a lot of suppliers from the market. So there isn't as much choice out there as there has been previously. But there are still a lot of good companies out there that still dominate quite a large part of the market. Customer service is a huge one. So definitely go out there and have a look at the customer service ratings of these companies. Yes, obviously you have to look at the price that they're going to offer you, but look at the customer service rating, because that ultimately is what's going to be really important to you if something does go wrong, or if you are someone who is really, really struggling at the moment, you want to know that you're going to be able to get hold of that energy company, and that maybe they will be able to offer you something like a new repayment plan or access to maybe a hardship fund that some of these companies have as well. So you want to know that you can get hold of them when you need them.
For anybody who's already in debt to energy companies, or perhaps is worried that they're going to get into that position come this winter, what advice for them?
Yeah, so your first port of call really should be contact your energy provider. So contact the company who are providing your energy, because they are obligated to help in a situation like this if you are struggling. So contact them, and they should be able to offer you some different options. I mentioned a little bit earlier on there, payment plans, so maybe changing the frequency of your payments, maybe rather than paying monthly, you're paying every 6 weeks, every couple of months, and also bringing down your payments themselves. So hopefully that should ease the pressure on some people. And if you aren't on a smart meter, I would suggest that you take as many meter readings as frequently as you possibly can, because then you aren't relying on the companies estimating your bills, because we see a lot of the time that the estimates are actually higher than the amount of energy that you have actually used.
Rob, some very thorough advice there. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.